back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be discussing setting up and using a Turck BL20. This is a distributed I/O module. This covers multiple protocols such as Ethernet IP, Modbus, and Profinet. The unit that we're going to be using is a BL20-E-GW-EN-IP. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't, is you're going to want to go to Turck USA, and you're going to want to download their I/O assistant, which has packware in it, and then install it on your PC. What I'm using is packware 4.1. So we'll go ahead and we're going to open up the software. What you're going to want to do now, it'll open up this way, and you're going to want to select the bottom one. It's Turck BL Service TCP-IP. And then we'll come up here and highlight this, but at this time you'll need to power up your Turck module. Connect the Ethernet cord to your laptop or your programming terminal, whatever you may be using. Okay, once you have that connected to your laptop, the next thing you're going to want to do is right click where it says TCP/IP. You're going to want to come down to additional functions. You're going to come over and select Bus Address Management. Okay, up here in this top column, you'll want to select this drop down, and we're not going to use the wireless network connection, which I have a laptop, so I'm on that. We're going to select the local area connection, and then you're going to select the little eye here, which is going to scan your network and find your unit if it's plugged in. Okay, we found the unit. Because I know it's this unit because it's the only device plugged into my local area connection, and I come back with a 192.168.1.161. Now we're going to have to go to this device and we're going to change its IP address to match what we're going to use it for today. So you'll want to come down to your network connections. You're going to go to your local area connection. You're going to go to properties. We're going to select version 4. We're going to go to properties. We're going to use a static IP address. And we're going to use the one that it said it was on, which was 192.168.1. And I will use 175 because I know I'm the only other one on this network because I'm connected directly to it. We use the 255 subnet mask. And we'll put in a gateway of 192.168.1.1. Once you have all the information entered, select OK. Hit close, close, exit. Now we can close it. In order to do this, we got to close this out. Go back in the same way we did it. Additional functions. Bus address management. Select a local area connection. There's our address we have. We'll scan for it, and there it is. It's a BL20E-GW-EN-IP with the same address we found earlier with all the information that's with it. We can go ahead and minimize the screen. We'll open up Google Chrome. I'm going to type in the address 192.168.1.161. We'll select enter. And now we went to the web server page of this unit. You'll want to go to setup. We want to set the IP. Alright, here's where we're going to change it to. We're going to change it to the one that my processor is on, which is 10.164.177. We can use 165. I checked that by going to my command prompt and pinging that address to make sure that it's not on the network, and I did that prior to this. The gateway is going to be 10.164.177.1, and we're going to leave the netmask the same. Now, in order to change this, you're going to have to enter a password, and that password is password. This is all in the documentation, so once you have all the information set, we're going to hit apply changes. Did it instantly. And it's trying to reload the page, but it's not going to be able to because we changed the address. So in order to go back to it to make sure that it made, we're going to go back and change our settings one final time. I'm going to use the network that I was on. Select OK. So OK. Close. Exit. Now that we changed it, we can go to its address. Now here's the deal. We wanted the address to be 165. With these units, you have to physically, on the dip switch the setting, change the last octet. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to want to bring it. We're going to go back to Packware. We're going to close this out. We're going to go back to the same place because we want to find this device. So additional functions, bus address management. Go down and select the local area connection we were on. Scan, find the address, and here it is. Okay, what we want is we want the last 3 digits of the IP address to be 165. So we're going to have to change that on the unit itself using the dip switches. So on the picture to the right, you'll see the dip switches. And what we're going to do with those is we're going to change those to match so that they set the final octet at 165. Now how do you figure that out? Okay, so in order to change this to 165, first we're going to have to pull up our calculator. Now most people will have their calculator will come up and it'll be in a standard version like this. At least on Windows 7 I have the ability to go down and select the programmer, and then I'll type in 165, and then I'll select binary. Now this goes from right to left. So the first one here would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as I show you here, we're going to change the dip switch to match so that this one would be on, off, on, off, off, on, off, on. So we're going to do that right now, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the cover. I'm going to power down the unit. Then I only had to make one change, and I had to change number 2 dip switch, though it shows 8 on here, but on the cover it shows 2. Over and turn it on to change the address to 165. I slide the cover back down, and we'll power it back up. And that's all it takes for changing the dip switch. Okay, now that you've seen where you set it at, we're going to go ahead and close the calculator out. Alright, here's a picture of, again, of the dip switches that you'll set, or you'll change. And now we can close this out. And remember, it's very important that you turn the power off to the unit when you change it. Otherwise, if you leave it on and not power it down and just change it, the changes won't change. It won't show a change. Right now, we'll go back here. We'll go back to additional functions, back down to bus address management. We'll use our local area connection. We'll scan for it, and here it is. Look, the last one is 165. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take what you just seen, the BL20, and we're going to add it to our project over here. Now when I go to add this, it's going to ask to go ahead and add the I/O modules. If you already have all the I/O modules snapped together on this and it's powered up, it will automatically set up all your I/O modules that you already have. Right here it says add DTMs. Yes, we want to do that. It shows that I have 116 digital input, 8 digital output, and 1 S-wire. Okay, what we're going to do is we want to control the S-wire module. I'm going to show you how to set up the S-wire. So we're going to run 1 S-wire starter, and then we're going to run 1 4 digital I/O and 2 digital output. It's this is an S-wire module where you can add 4 inputs and have 2 outputs on it. Pretty simple. So we'll double click. Well, we don't need the bus address anymore. We're done with that. So we're going to go ahead and double click on SWire. We're going to scroll down this list. Oops. And we're going to set up the first one. So when you come in here, typically these will say empty. So the first one we know is an SWire starter, and we know that it's an SWire DIL. The second one, as I stated, was a 4DI 2DO, and that's this one right here. That's it. We'll just click apply. We're going to say OK. We're going to come back up here, and we're going to go ahead and write the device data to the file. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save this project. Give it a name. Click save. And now we'll go ahead and we're going to write the device data to a file. And now we're going to store all the information to the device. Yes, we're sure we want to download to this one. Does it say you want to open a connection? Yes. It's going to put it in force mode, which means that if you have anything running, you're going to make a change, that anything running on this will stop once it goes into force. We don't have anything running, so we're going to go ahead and do it. Alright, now we got it wrote to it. We'll switch off the force mode. We'll close it. We don't need that anymore. And it's set up. Okay, now that you have the IP address changed and everything matches up, we're going to want to add this to RSlogix 5000. One of the neat functions is down here in additional functions. You can scroll down to station report, and we're going to print the station report. What we're going to want is the station parameters, image, and documentation. We don't need dimensions. Click apply. Alright, there's the image. This is what we have up there. Here's the parameters. There's the SWire configuration. And now we have our station report. Now, in the station description, this is what we're going to use to set up our generic Ethernet module. So we have 6 input words and 6 output words. The PLC configuration is 103 and 104. Though we're using a module with the firmware of 1.9, so we're going to use the instances of 101 and 102. When you scroll through the list here, this is your I/O map for your input data. 0 is a status. Word 1, 16 of them right here for our 16 point input card. And the next one is from our SWire module and from our DIO module. Here's our output data. Word 0 is our status. Word 1 is your 8 outputs right here. Word 2, which is D, and that starts our SWire module. If you scroll back up, I'll show you the difference between these letters. And it's right here. So slot 0, A for our status, and then we have B is our input card, C is our digital output card, and D is our SWire card. If you come down here, it's how you follow it on your I/O mapping. You see A for your status word, B, and D. Same thing here. We have 4 words for output data. Here's the other 4 words right down here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to switch over to our RSlogix processor, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the film for a second. I'm going to plug this into our network switch so we can connect to the processor with this module. I will also show you where I'm hooking up the S-wire ribbon and configuring the two S-wire modules for the drive. Okay, I've got it plugged in. It's on the network, and now we're going to add it to our tree. So I have a project open in RSlogix 5000. I'm on the network with it. We're going to go down here. We're going to add a new module. And I'm using version 20, so it displays different than others. Over on the right hand side, you'll be able to select show filters. And we're going to uncheck both of these. And we're going to select Allen Bradley and communication. Just near the bottom of the list here, you'll find the generic Ethernet module. We're going to use it. Alright, if we pull up our station report, you'll remember that we're going to use 101 and 102, both with 6 words. So we're going to change this to data to an integer file. We're going to change this to 6. This is going to be 101. This is going to be 6. This is going to be 102. Configuration, we're going to put a 1. IP address was 10, 164, 177, 165. We're going to call this Turck IO. We're going to say OK. Yes, we want to go online with it. And we're OK. Down here, we have no problems. We're online. We're communicating with it now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our tags. Let's scroll down to the bottom where we added it. We're going to go to our output. And what I have is I have the S-wire module hooked up so that the first 2 outputs allow power to go to the S-wire module and allow it to be able to say that the drives are good to go. We're going to enter a 1 there. We're going to enter a 1 here. Nope, excuse me. That was status word 1. We need to open up that. The 0 was a status word. The next one is one we want. This one will fire an output. And then we're going to turn on the second output. I'll show you again where you go through and you find that. We'll go back here to Packware. If you remember, on our output, scroll up. That's our input. Here's our output data. Word 0 is a status. Word 1, bit 0, and bit 1. So these are your first 2 outputs. And those are the 2 that we just turned on. So we'll minimize this. Okay, now that we have applied the safety power to our S-wire card, we're going to need to configure the module. This one may be already configured, but I'm going to go through the same process as before. We're going to hook up the S-wire ribbon to the S-wire card, and then we're going to push the configuration button. And during that, I'm going to show you it right now. Take the S-wire module cord here, just plugged into the first S-wire DLL that we programmed in Packware. And then we have the next cable going over to the DIO module. So we're going to put the S-wire into the S-wire module. And as you see, we have blinking lights here. We need to configure these. So you have a configuration button here in the hole. You're going to press and hold it until it becomes flashing. It'll automatically go through and set itself up. And now it's ready and we're configured. So that's how you do it. So now you have a green light here. We also have a green light here. And we're ready to run those. Now that you see how you have that all hooked up, we'll go on down to the second output word. And it's going to be the first bit. We'll start the contactor. Let me scroll down here to the Packware station report to show you for the output. So word 2. the first output, and if we pull up a print showing the S-wire configuration, give me just a second here, you'll see that on the print itself, you'll see that the first bit in word 2 will start the slave unit. You'll see that the first bit will activate the starter. Okay, here you'll be able to tell on the starter, when we start it, you'll see that the contact will pull in. And like I said, it was the first bit in word 2. And as you've seen, it went in. Now if we go down, so that'd be 0, 1, 2, 3. Now here's the next set. If I turn this on, it'll turn the output on the DIO. Oh, not with 11. And we'll go down one more and it'll turn the second output on. Now if we go up to our inputs, and the first one was a status word. Then we'll go down to the second one. So right now, this is showing a 1 here. That means the contactor is good, it's not tripped out. And the one above it right here, or the first 4, are for the first slave module. Now if I go down to the output, and we'll turn the starter back on, and go up, and you'll see here on the input that there's one there. Now if I turn the contactor off, reach in and trip it itself, you'll see it go out. Turn it back on, reset it, and it comes out. And that's how you can control the modules using this software. Turck's got a pretty good product for setting it all up. And I hope it kind of explains some things for you here. If you have any other questions on how to set the stuff up, let me know. What I'll do is we're going to zoom in on the output card real quick because I wanted to show you that. We have 8 outputs that we have. We have the first 2 on because we're powering the, excuse me. We have the first 2 on because we're powering up the S-wire module using those. So we'll go and scroll in. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit for you here. Alright, you should be able to see those outputs trigger on as I go down through the list here. So remember, there's only 8 of them. Enter. And that's all of them on. Now you'll see that we're controlling this using RSlogix 5000. It's a pretty simple program to use. It's real easy once you understand how to use it. And basically that's all there is to setting these up. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I can answer them best I can. If I did something incorrectly in the video, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure this is the easiest way to set all this up. Remember, when you use station reports, that helps you set up this for RSlogix 5000. Again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.